Hello, hello again. Welcome to another edition of Louisiana Catalyst Podcast Show, The Link, here at the Harvey Benoit Recreation Center in Monroe, Louisiana. I'm your co-host, Duran Talley, Vice President of Louisiana Catalyst, here with my brother, my good friend, our president, Mr. Quentin Derr.
How's everybody doing today?
Doing great, man. Doing great. And we're here with professional development guru, organizational management, just a phenomenal community leader. But what she does in terms of workplace help and career development, Miss Alberta Green, is just next to none. And so I thank you for what you've done in helping me in my career as an employee, as a co-worker, and as an individual. So welcome to the show, Miss Alberta.
Welcome.
Thank you, Duran. Such a nice welcome.
Yes, indeed. Miss Alberta, again, just to touch on some of the things that you do at ABG Consulting. Tell us a little bit about it and how did you get into that industry and world of work?
Yes. Like Duran says, I'm owner of ABG Professional Development Solutions. And what we do, we provide training and development for small, medium, and large organizations in the field of leadership development, executive coaching, mental health counseling, strategic planning, organizational effectiveness, and also mental health therapy and well-being. And we work with companies in Louisiana, Texas, Indiana, and the list goes on and on and on. So prior to ABG Professional Development Solutions, the company started in 2012, and it was actually called ABG Counseling and Career Consulting. And I knew that it was a niche out there for career development and professional development that most may not have been seeking. And that's when we formed the doing business as ABG Professional Development Solutions. And next question, Duran, I think, what else did you ask?
How did
I get into it?
Yeah.
Well, I always knew that I was going to be a business owner. It was just the process of how it was going to happen. And I worked for several different types of industries. And I worked for the state, higher academia, nonprofit. I also worked for the government, a large technology corporation, and several other jobs. But I knew that I was taking pieces from each one of those industries and putting them together because I knew I wanted to provide career development, but I wanted to make sure I was capable of understanding all facets before I started to offer my services. So I started off working for support enforcements. That was my big girl job. And I moved on to work for ULM as an administrative assistant. And I promoted up within the organization, career counseling. And prior to career counseling, as an admin, I helped out with the career portion. And I'll never forget, someone came into the office and they had kind of lost their way. And when they kind of laid down and started crying and they had all of this tied to career, I knew right then I needed more education. So I went back to school and got a master's in mental health and career counseling. And after I got that master's, I was promoted at ULM to career counselor.
Nice.
So fast forward, went up to director of the Career Center, moved on to work for a Fortune 150 company at the time, and worked for NLEP, North Louisiana Economic Partnership, and the rest is history. That's how I got to where I am now.
Yes, indeed. In a journey that, I've had a chance to watch since about 2015 or so, and just to see you kind of transition from employee to entrepreneur was definitely a sign of not only your personal growth and achievements in your academic in terms of master and so forth on, but also your experience and the need that you continue to sow along the way.
Right. And you are right. It truly has been a journey. And what I do currently, I can see several other individuals doing the same. It's just when they're ready. And that's what I really love about your generation, because you all are capable to work a full-time job, and you also know how to stay involved in the community and also try out things that you're interested in.
we are pretty good at multitasking.
Yes, I would definitely say that. But I think in other generations, it's more about finding a job, paying for insurance and bills. It doesn't really matter if you're happy or not. Just go to work and take care of your family. But you guys have kind of a holistic approach to working because it's not a work-life balance. You just want to encompass all three at the same time, which I find pretty cool. So you can work a full-time job and be a part of it, but you can also be a part of the community. Right. You can also help the person down the street. And it's so cool to watch your generation and what you do.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes, and I think it's great that you have a focus on mental health because we talk about that a lot, where the importance of when you're running a business and the responsibility that comes with having employees under you when you're a business owner, and your livelihood and your mental health directly affects, however many employees you have. And so breaking that stigma of mental health and going to counseling and being able to say, hey, it's okay, but your mental health is so important to everybody else in the company. And so the services you provided are incredible. And we want to help highlight that because if you're a business owner and you're having some issues, you can always develop new skills, but you always kind of have to keep a check in that mental health department as well. So I'm glad to see the two approaches there because they mirror each other very well.
Well, Quentin, I actually love that you brought that up because that's why I think my organization is so neat. And I love what we're doing. I love it so much that my dissertation is a holistic approach to leadership development, how management training, mentoring, and coaching and leadership development can lead to the success of the business individual. And it's all about that holistic approach. Even in my executive format, whenever I'm coaching a cohort through, I start with the mental health well-being because from my perspective, I can't even make it to the management training if you're not in a good place to receive what I'm delivering.
The mental is the foundation.
It is the foundation because once that's good, you're willing to learn the management training. You're willing to be coached, right? You're willing to get the mentorship. Right. So I love that you brought that up. And I feel like that's what we do in my organization that makes it so special. It's not just go in, train the people and say goodbye, but to lay that foundation so that when I leave, you're constantly growing and developing and you're managing not just your work, but you're managing your life as well.
Yeah, no, that's definitely important, especially, to take it outside of that, just the career search. I can recall 10 years ago, I was homeless, I didn't have a job, and the only thing I had good for me was that I was dating an LSU cheerleader. That's the only thing I had going good for me.
Silver lining.
That's a win.
And so that was the only little piece of anything that I guess kept me somewhat sane. I was drinking and smoking and just lost. And so that I say that to say that journey in between graduating college and finding your career can define what you're going to look like in 10 years.
Wow.
And if I didn't, have whatever little string of hope that I had to sustain me till I finally got situated, who knows where Durantale would be today,
Wow.
So I think it's important that ABG looks at that mental health along with career progression and so forth.
Yeah,
that's good. I love that.
You're helping people find their purpose. And when you find your purpose, now you have reason and hope to and have direction.
Right.
I think you play an integral part.
Yeah, and that purpose is so fundamental when you understand that everybody, all of us, as we pass through this world, as we pass through certain careers and certain companies and organizations, you have a purpose. You may not have it at that first job, or you may not have it at that first university, but everything that we experience and we go through, we are picking up pieces of our purpose to mesh them together because you will get there as long as you hold on. And I love the story that you shared because even though all of that was going on, what stood out about you was your personality and who you were, and you were not afraid to step up. but that purpose, it followed you. Even in your darkest days, that purpose still kind of shined through and kept going until you linked up with what you were meant to do. Yeah. So, the purpose, we just have to keep going and know that it's there.
Right. Yeah. No doubt. I tell people nowadays that we have to stay focused on what that promise is or that purpose is, even when we can't understand the process.
Right.
We don't always know why we are where we are, what's happening to us in this moment or why it's happening. But if we can stay connected and understand that the purpose and the promise is still there, if I can just look at that, it doesn't matter why I'm here or who left me here or what I have, what I don't have. That process, we don't always have to understand the process, but we have to believe that the purpose and the promise is still there.
Right.
Yeah, I always say every piece of the puzzle is important. It may not look important. It may not be the sexiest piece of the puzzle, but it definitely is not complete without that piece. So it may be a section of your life that seems meaningless and doesn't have fulfillment, but in reality, those learning lessons in that piece play a greater part. So I think we're on the same page with that one.
Yeah. And I always tell people, young people, older people, whatever, but I always tell them when they're like, I have no idea what my purpose is. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I just feel lost. I always take them back to the age of 4 or 5. Most people can remember at 4 or 5. And I'm like, what were you doing? What were you playing? Were you teaching someone? Were you making mud cakes? Were you having conversations with people? Were you trying to fix situations? Usually from 4 to 5, you say what you want to say in this world and you forget that it ever happened. But what happens, it follows you everywhere that you go. Because, for instance, I love to solve problems and I love to fix situations and make things better. I didn't think about it, but I was doing it at 4 and 5. And then I was doing it at 10 and 12 and in high school. So I was the person who was the mediator who would go out and help people, solve problems and figure out what's going on. But in college, as lost as I could be, changed my major 4 to 5 times. 4 to 5 times. And had that, I don't know what in the world that I want to do. I felt like I was good at everything, but forgot about the age of 4 and 10 and 12 in high school. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm just lost. I don't know what to do. And it took one of my professors, he sat me down, he said, Alberta, I don't know what you are meant to do, but whatever it is, you are going to be great. Wow. Just keep moving forward and keep believing that there is something for you to do. And I will never forget that because it was like a light switch came on. And that's when I figured it out. Because sometimes people feel like that job or that entry-level job or the job you're not making enough money, you're like, I'm supposed to be doing better than this. Don't think about it like that. Right. Take that job, take those skills, take everything that you're learning, put it in a toolbox, move to the next, put it in a toolbox, and you're eventually are going to get to what you're meant to do.
Yeah, I look at your starting jobs as almost, it is really like a paid internship to where you're going. So it's like, okay, if you're willing to pay for school, then are you not willing to take a little less to get the building blocks or the training needed for the job you want to get to? That's right. Because if you just jumped into the job you were meant to be straight off the cuff, you would not do well. So that experience helps you, and I'm thinking now, it's like, what was I doing at 4 to 5? I was on a Superman suit jumping off the roof. So I guess I'm always trying to help people. And I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. But I know I want to help people. That's right. That's what Catalyst, everything I do has always been centered around helping people.
I love that. And usually whenever I work with people for executive coaching or just professional development, we always start off with the well-being, mental health, but then we move into assessments. So I have about 3 assessments that I give individuals just to hone in as we get ready to start developing you, getting you prepped for a new career if that's what you want, and just helping you find something that you're seriously going to enjoy and be able to give back pieces of yourself. Because usually when you're in a career that you're giving you you want to wake up and go to work. You want to fulfill your day. You want to do these things. So that's what we usually do.
Can Duran get an example of that assessment question? Can we get? I want to analyze the psyche.
Okay. Yes. So just make an appointment.
So I have gone through Miss Alberta's training. We did the True Colors back in 2016, 2017. It's been several years ago.
I think so. Wow.
And so I was a hybrid orange and blue, which meant that blue was my soft and compassionate side, and my orange was that upbeat, high energy, life of party, almost salesman, engaging.
Energy, salesman.
Now I know why we're friends.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's actually my brand colors.
Oh, really?
Of our marketing company.
It is.
And obviously of cows. We mix the same stuff. So
okay, well you're gonna have to come see me. I'm gonna have to give that assessment. But
absolutely.
So I'm certified in True Colors. I'm certified in Strength Finders. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one. And like I said, I have several, because when you come to me, we need to solve what's going on, and we need to put you in a better place than before you came, so that you feel good. You feel like you have that promise, and you're ready to contribute what you know.
Right.
Miss Alberta, what are some of the common themes that you found that organizations here in our region struggle with, that you've kind of helped overcome through the years?
That's a really good one. I would say miscommunication. Miscommunication.
Not lack communication, miscommunication.
Yes, because some organizations are working at 100 to nothing. We have to do more with less. With the given what's happening in the world right now, it's hard to find really, really good talent. So what happens when it's hard to find good talent? You work the ones that you have extremely hard. But it's all about how you shape the narrative and how you communicate and how you let people know what they need to know. Like your generation, you cannot just say, here, make it happen. Well, if you're an orange, but for the most part, it's okay. Well, how would you like for me to make it happen? When is the due date? What are the expectations? How many hours does it take for me to get this done? And because you guys are inquisitive, you want to know. So with that being said, if communication is the foundation and laid correctly, and people and employees feel comfortable and they know that they can come, not get in trouble, not be, screamed at, anything crazy, it will just work will flow a whole lot better. So communication.
Yeah, no, definitely. Communication is key in anything, in any relationship. Quentin and I, you don't want to see the text threads that he and I have.
To use a search engine to find a conversation.
I know I sent that to him. I just
have to put in the words to find it, because if I start scrolling, I'll be there all day.
And then the group text that we have that he and I are in with other people, one off, two off other people, because we understand that while we're so busy and ripping and doing what we're doing, that I have to know what he has in his brain, in the back of his brain, whether we're ready to execute or not. And then we try and give him the same as well, that we can always, when we see each other, sometimes we go 2 weeks and don't see each other.
Wow.
But we still, hip and hip, and it's because of the communication. Same in relationship with my wife and I, we can sense when you didn't necessarily tell me you had all that going today. And so come home at the end of the day, it's kind of a disconnect. What went wrong? We didn't fight. It was just we didn't connect on communicating as well as we normally. And so when you're dealing with organizations and businesses, I could see that. Yes, indeed.
And organizations are different too. It all depends on the culture and what that culture of that organization is. And that's when you know what they need. So in regards to the communication portion, but also I'll take communication just a little bit deeper. How do you like to be communicated to? If you have a mixed organization that have people of different ages, some people may only want the telephone, call me. Some people may only want to be text. Some people want to be left a voice message or an email. So if you set that tone up front, like, how do you like to be communicated that I know you're going to receive this? And like for me, because I'm so busy, like my staff, I always tell them, send me an email, text me as well. And if you want to leave a voicemail, you can, but I may not get to it the same day. But at least do 3 if you want to get me.
Really get the attention.
Right. Because I can be in a meeting and you know how we have our phones and I'm listening. But if that text comes through, I'm going to make a mental note. Oh, when I walk out, I need to call. But if you sent me an email and I'm in the road all day, how am I going to know that you emailed unless I'm checking my phone like that? And voice calls, not unless I can pick up, I can pick up.
Right.
But I always tell people, over communicate until I tell you that's too much communication.
Right. Yeah, we talk. It's like you definitely you can't just tell somebody something once. You got to follow up and not just assume that it's going to. And that's the communication part of just saying, hey, I want to reiterate or just double, follow up with this.
Right.
And so that's something we've learned, definitely.
And so if you're uncomfortable texting and you only want to talk on the phone, you have to communicate that to me and say, I know you like receiving texts, but I would rather send you a message on the phone. Right. And then I would have to come back to you and say, okay, I accept that, but just know that I will not be able to return a voicemail before 24 hours.
Right.
And then are you okay with that?
Right.
Versus you telling me that and I'm like, I'm not going to, we have to communicate.
Right. And I learned from some training early on at the bank they put us through. It's not even about me communicating to you how I want to be communicated to. I need to recognize what your communication style is and communicate to you that resonates with you. Right. A lot of people just say, well, I told you this. Well, that may be how you take the information in. That's not how they take the information in. So you have to be aware of personality type. I tell, especially in banking, when I have a client that's very social and they do not care about the numbers, I do not dive into what your monthly, like all the detail, because it just drives them nuts. But if I have somebody super analytic and they want to know all that information, I'm not going to spend 10 minutes talking about their family and what they did last weekend, because they're going to tell me, anyway, so what's my payment? They want the details. So knowing communication styles is important. So
meet
I'm
them
glad
where they are.
Yep.
It's good.
No, that's definitely spot on. What Miss Alberta, in your role and experience here working with Leadership Ouachita, what are some of the positive things that you're seeing, the strengths that you're seeing coming out of this soon to graduate leadership class?
Well, let me tell you, Louisiana Catalyst, you all did such an amazing job. You blew me away. That information that you all shared and the services that you offer, I can tell the class was very engaged while they were listening to you. But what I've noticed with this group, very engaged, very innovative, and they have amazing ideas. And to have that many thought leaders in a room, because think about it, it's different industries, different companies and organizations. And some of these people have been in their roles for 3 years, 10, but I would say, just like how I see both of you, they have the ability to be just as creative, meaning that it's okay that they can work a job and still be able to do things that they love, and just find that happy medium and that balance. I think it's an art. Sometimes it's hard for people to grasp that, but that's what I love about that group. And here's another thing that I love. Even within their organization and company, they're able to understand that they can reach out and still be able to touch that part of them that's more personable and want to help and want to provide community service. Because that's an interesting thing about people as well. What I would tell people, if they did not like their job, I know I'm bouncing around, but if they did not, I always tell them, you may not like it as much. Enjoy the journey while you are there, and you will be able to find something within the organization that will still bring you joy. So for instance, you're doing this accounting piece, you're okay with numbers, but you would rather be over here. Your organization has something that you can still find joy in until they move you into a new role or you try something else or reach outside of the organization. So that's what I like about that group.
Yeah. And we could definitely sense that. We've had several conversations with 3 or 4 of them since that session.
Actually, Bryce was just on a couple of episodes ago.
So. Dr. Bryce Jones, he's done come in studio with us. We've met with Josh Carroll with Snap Me Creative and some other capacities and trying to build some relationships there.
Awesome.
And so just moving from that environment that you all welcomed us into to, really creating relationships from it, and so, and that's what we try and do here is really become that link, that's what we call the show The Link, is because we truly mean that, and want you to be a part of the link. Feel like I can call Duran, call Quentin if I have this question, this idea, or Duran and Quentin, I want y'all to feel comfortable calling me if y'all know of a company, of an organization that may need some professional development solutions and services that we can easily share that resource, share that information to you.
Absolutely. It makes me feel comfortable when I'm dealing with a client that if I identify, like I say, assess their situation, and that's something they really have a need, I now know I feel really good about having someone that I can connect them with, that they're going to be in good hands and taken care of, and actually continue to help them along their journey and growth pattern.
And I love what you all shared about being the connector.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty cool. And I love your platform as it relates to people can have access to come in and out, that you share that this is a different type of work environment. People aren't going to be sitting at desk all the time. So I think that you guys are really doing an amazing job at meeting people where they are.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Yeah, entrepreneurship is just so different these days, especially when you incorporate families and working from home with your children, the virtual component now to workspacing. It's just a different environment, how we do business. And so at Catalyst, it's been very critical for us to, to your point, meet people where they are, not hold them down, them not hold us down, but we all be very flexible,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Miss Alberta, we thank you. We thank you for your time. We thank you for everything that you are doing here in the community as a leader. I have to say this too, her children are also, I don't know if they're entrepreneurs, but they're definitely innovators because I've been in leadership, or not leader, what do we call it? Small business academies with the West Monroe Chamber, and both of her boys are young men now. I know one has graduated, the other one's probably close now, have come through there, and in there they create businesses or inventions, and both of her sons have come through with brilliant ideas. I can see where they get it
but
from.
Not from. They didn't get it from me.
We said entrepreneurship is hereditary or contagious. So,
yes, indeed.
They have a good role model to look up to.
Oh, well, thank you very much. But it's been such a pleasure. Thank you all for having me. I hope I answered all your questions or anything you may have.
Yes, indeed. We'll bring you back anytime. And if anything we can do for you, let us know.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Awesome.
No problem.
Thank you all for tuning in to another edition of The Link here at the Harvey Benoit Recreation Center.